I am so pumped to be here again. Of course, I'm here with you guys every week. So sorry about missing yesterday, but there were just not enough hours in the day and I was exhausted. Oh my gosh, the end of the school year is just really testing me this year with my kiddos, and I don't know, I feel like I'm just working a lot and I'm here with you guys a lot, and I just needed a minute to like sit down and just to be. So this week though, we're going to use this beautiful kit from Planner Kate, and it's kit 729. So here's the sidebar, real cute. Here are the pattern labels. Here's the vertical checklist sheet, and you can get this checklist sheet in horizontal and hourly as well if you have other habits or other planners. And then I think I saw this habits sticker and it influenced my speech. Okay, and then we have this sheet, the functional sheet, and then we have the sampler. Really cute. And then I have the square boxes and the standard boxes. And I decided to go with this kit because in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, it is just now becoming strawberry season, and I thought this was perfect for June, and I actually kind of love it. I love, oh my gosh, I love the little plaid sticker and the bows. I just think it goes really perfectly. Okay, so first things first, I think I want to get my washi down first. And I think I'm just going to do these two different strawberries. I think I'm going to do the pink on the bottom and the teal on the top. And I am going to speed this part up. I'm actually filming this same day that this is going to go live, so I'm trying to get this done. It is currently 6:30 a.m. before this is supposed to go live at 7:30 Pacific time. So we'll see if we can do this, but I'm going to get this down and then I'll be right back with you guys.
What a wasted time. Should have been here on the outside, read the signs. Used to call you mine. Gave it my best, but I don't need one more try.
We're also going to get on these headers, and I'm going to speed up this part too, and then I promise I'm actually going to get the headers and the meal stickers on, because those are just little things that we're going to do. So let me get those on and then we will chat and get this spread decorated.
Baby, I'm all out of hope. Could I find it when I go? Think we're only here to stay alive now. Funny, we ran out of kicks. Now you only make me sick. Think we're only here to stay alive now. 'Cause I know what a waste, what a crime, what a fucked up time, and I should.
Let's get our sidebar stuff on here. I think I'm going to use this one because, well, actually this is kind of different and this is similar, but I love the Hello Sweet Summer. I think it's really cute because we are getting close to the first day of summer, which I think is like June 21st or something. This would have been a cute kit for that week, but that week I have other plans for. I think I already kind of know what kits I'm going to use throughout the week, throughout the month. Let me know if you guys are like that too. Okay, let me put my little work from home. Oh, I don't like that though, how this is like that. Well, that is just going to be how it is. So there. Okay, I want to put this up a little higher because the last time with the Pride kit, I didn't have a ton of room at the bottom, which was kind of weird. Okay, and then I need the work from home sticker. It's so nice when I'm using the newer kit and I know like exactly what I have, what I need, all that good stuff. We need, I think the next part is the, oh yeah, the little squiggly guy, the pink little squiggly guy, and then the habit tracker, and then that little bottom piece. I am exhausted, you guys. This end of the school year is kicking my booty, and it's just, it's so much this year. But the only thing I'm holding on to is I have a beach trip planned at the end of June, which I actually need to put on my monthly calendar because it actually just kind of officially got planned because, you know, that's my brain. That's where things live. So yeah, really excited. We are going to the beach. I'm not going to say which one just because I love you guys, but there are weirdos on the internet that may show up. I don't think it's honestly anybody that's subscribed to my channel that would like show up and like be weird, but you know, there's weirdos that watch videos of people who have kids or whatever. So, you know, that is just the way my anxiety operates. So I'm not going to share until we get back, but we have that beach trip planned, and then I'm actually hoping to plan one in the fall. And if you know anything about the beach in Oregon or on the Pacific Northwest, you'll know that it is unlike most beaches. It's not warm at all. It's actually colder at the beach than it is like inland. So like if it's like 90 degrees here, a lot of people like in Portland, a lot of people will like go to the beach to like cool off, which is crazy pants. That's not how it is in most places. So yeah, that's kind of wacky. Okay. So yeah, but the Oregon coast, if you ever have a chance, it's honestly one of the most beautiful places on the face of the planet. It's honestly so pretty. So I highly recommend trying to go if you ever do get a chance. Okay, so I think I'm gonna I gotta figure this out. Okay, so if I do this on Monday, then I do this on Tuesday, but then that leaves me with 3 of these because then I want to do this on Wednesday. Maybe then I do this. And then okay, we'll figure that out. Okay, so I think I'm going to do this one first. This plaid sticker is the cutest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so adorable. Oh my gosh, and you guys are so funny. Somebody mentioned in the comments the other day about how I sing everything. I honestly didn't even know that I did that until years ago when I started this channel and somebody mentioned it. That was adorable. That's pretty funny. Okay, so what else? Okay, so beach trip. We have some Spirit Week things going on this week for Harrison's school. For the last 26 days of school, his school does this like fun situation. Oh, we almost forgot our dog park stickers, you guys. I was like, that is too close to the bottom. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, trying to film this and get this up within like an hour. Again, anxiety girly. I tried to get up a lot earlier actually and do this so that I would have more of like a time buffer. But did I do that? Absolutely not. No, I did not do that. Why would I do anything that like made sense like that? Pfft, no. But this video is going to go out today on Sunday, but it might be a little bit late, you know. And then I have things coming next week, really fun stuff. I have a shopping vlog planned where I think I'm going to go to like one of our fun, like kind of craft stores. We also have a Daiso, which I'm thinking about going into. So yeah, I just couldn't get it together enough this week to get the shopping vlog filmed. So, you know, it just was kind of a struggle week, but I'm here and that is all that matters. I'm trying to be more consistent with this channel. Every time I get overwhelmed, I feel like I just like ghost you guys and I don't want to do that anymore. So I want to be here and I don't know, it's a lot of fun to be here. Okay, so these are dog park. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, so I actually have been going to the dog park twice a day since I've been kind of making my own schedule. I do have a business that I'm consulting with right now for social media stuff, and honestly, that like doing that makes me not want to go back to work full time. And I think I've talked about this before because I remember somebody mentioned it in the comments that they had done some like engineering consulting before, but it is such a breath of fresh air to be able to be the expert in the room. They're consulting with me, so they're really like depending on me to lead this area. I have like a quote manager, but they're basically just the person like oversees me as the consultant and oversees to make sure that I'm like doing everything by the book and how the company wants it done, but not really a manager, which I like because I feel like the whole like, I don't know, I've never had a good manager. Maybe that is it, but every manager I've ever had has been like incredibly toxic. So there's that. Well, actually, no, that isn't true. I shouldn't say that because in my previous job where I worked for like a big data company, which that kind of felt like selling my soul, but it is kind of where the money is at, which is crazy. And I just kept telling myself that. But my boss there, it was like their company had gotten acquired by this larger company. And I actually really liked working there, and I really liked my boss, and I felt like I could kind of do, not my own thing, but like they trusted me to do my job, and I was kind of doing everything, which then meant I basically had control over everything. So I was doing all the copy, because if you don't know, I do social media marketing. I used to teach for a lot of years, but I don't anymore. And actually, I made a community post not too long ago, and somebody asked me like what made me leave teaching. So many things. I'm gonna try to not get like too cynical here, but like, I don't know. When I first went into teaching, I went into it because I ended up having my daughter at the very tail end of college. So my plan was actually, before I got pregnant, I was getting my degree in English, and my plan was actually to go into like book publishing, like into the publishing industry, because the university in my city, Portland State, has a master's in book publishing, and I was going to get my bachelor's in English. But after I had my baby, I was kind of thinking that I needed a career that was more family friendly, as it were. So I was like, well, because before I had wanted to go into book publishing, I'd always wanted to teach. I just like my daughter, I was an outdoor school camp counselor. I really liked kids. I actually taught swimming lessons for a long time as a young person. I've been working since I was like 15. So I had been doing that, and I was like really interested in like education and stuff, and like teaching kids and that kind of thing. So I was like, well, you know, maybe I can like kind of lean back into teaching. And so that is kind of what I did. It's like, well, I'll have like summers off and stuff, and, you know, I'll have the same schedule as my kids. But what I did not realize that was happening in the education industry was that it was just getting so crazy. I actually got my degree in 2011, which was basically at the tail end, or like the recovery time for the 2008 recession. So there were like 0 teaching jobs. I subbed for the first like 2 years of my career. And at that time, my husband and I were like talking about if we wanted to have more kids, you know, what we wanted to do next, that kind of thing. And so we paused those plans because I was like, well, I'm subbing, like I'm not, you know, stable in my career yet. I don't want to like have another baby and not have like good health insurance or maternity care or whatever. Little did I know there is not very good maternity leave anywhere. Even if you're teaching, like you have to, that's another thing like that I thought, and it was a myth for me, was that like my healthcare benefits would be pretty cool, or like that they would make up for the lack of pay. That's what I had always heard of people who had taught. That is definitely not the case. And so I was shocked by that too. And then as I got more into like my full-time career, so my first full-time teaching gig was in an alternative school, which there were pluses and minuses to that. So we had smaller class sizes, but we had kids with higher needs, and like, you know, they had more like behaviors. We also had like an on-site daycare. We had pregnant and parenting teens. So I would say that even though I really valued the kids and like we made really, really deep relationships, a lot of that was hard because we served gang intervention kids as well. So we had a high rate of our kids basically losing their lives, which was really sad. And we also had, you know, kids that would struggle a lot. And so we would, you know, they would need more therapeutic services. You know, it was just overall more emotionally taxing, which I was happy to do because I really believed in what I was doing at the time. Then I ended up having my son, and I just felt at that time that I couldn't give that much emotionally and then come home and give more to my family. I didn't have it to give. And so I started looking for other ideas of what I could do to stay in teaching, because at that time that was in 2015, that I still really loved it, and I had like spent all this money on my career. And the other draw was, at that time, there was something where if you taught at what's called a Title I school, which is 50% or more of the kids are on free or reduced lunch, if you taught at one of those schools for more than, I think, 5 years, 5 to 10 years, somewhere in there, I can't remember now, your loans would be forgiven. All of your teaching student loans would be forgiven, because I think they realized that teachers couldn't really afford to pay back their student loans, if I'm honest, especially in Oregon where they require you to get a master's degree. I actually have my master's in education. Anyway, so they kind of realized that, and they're like, oh, well, we can do this, and like we can have them working with some of the most needy kids in their areas, and then like we'll pay their loans back. Which seems kind of predatory now that like I think about it. But so I did that, and I kept going for a little bit longer, and then in 2016 I just couldn't be a mom to 2 kids and like give that much emotionally, even though like I felt so bad. I felt like I was like abandoning my kids that I had like built these really deep relationships with, and I had really like become invested more in, and I felt like I was kind of abandoning them, but I just couldn't do it. So I actually discovered online education in 2016. And so I actually started working from home and teaching online way before anybody even ever thought about working from home pre-COVID. And so in 2016, I started working from home. I was hired by an online school that was local to Oregon, which I felt like was really cool. And I felt like that was a really great way that I could stay in education, but still also like meet my own needs and still like take care of myself, basically. And so I did that for until 2022. From 2016 to 2022, I taught in online education. And then in 2020, because everything went wild with COVID, and like teachers in traditional schools were expected to just learn how to teach online, which is very different than teaching in a traditional setting. There's a lot of like different factors that you have to think about when you're teaching online, and a lot of different ways to, to plan for your lessons and all of that. And so a lot of folks looked to online education professionals to kind of fill that gap or to provide that need. And so we did that. And so we had an influx of students. Like we had a lot of students enroll in 2020 to 2021. However, once things started to kind of, taper back down, or to become, quote, more normal again, we lost a ton of kids. And if you don't know how education works, a lot of the funding follows the student. And so if you lose an influx of students, you're going to lose an influx of funding, which basically means you're going to be in a deficit as far as your budget goes. And that's exactly what happened to our school. And so I ended up being part of a 40 teacher layoff. They ended up not laying us off based on seniority, which was kind of insane to me. So that's not how that went. And then I was like, well, I've already been having some of these kind of feelings about education. And, I had seen how devastating things were for my counterparts, my colleagues who were working in a more traditional setting. And I just didn't think I could go back. Like I didn't have the stamina at that time to even consider going back to full-time teaching in the classroom in person. Like there's just no way that I could have done that. Juggling 2 little kids. My son was only 2022, he was 5 or 6, so he was still really little, and he was just starting kindergarten, so there was a lot that I had to juggle personally. And my husband works full-time, so you're probably thinking where's your husband in all of this? But he also works full-time, and so we just both didn't have a lot of flexibility in our schedules. Then I was actually hired by my former company that I worked with. This is a full circle conversation. I was hired by that company and worked with the boss who I thought was just absolutely wonderful and amazing, incredible human being for the next 2.5 years. And then I was part of a layoff there. And then I was hired by, that happened in, when did that happen? That happened in 2024, and then I got hired basically a month later by this other incredibly toxic company that I've talked about before. So yeah, that's the story of how I left education and how I quit teaching, which is kind of crazy. It's a wild story, and I do not wish that scenario on anybody. That was real hard. So yeah, that was tough, but made it out, made it to the other side of that. I'm here now consulting for social media. I do still have an active teaching license until August of this year, so I need to kind of figure out what I want to do with that, if I want to renew it or let it lapse, or kind of what I want to do with it. Also, like, I did work for Title I schools for many, many years, and then I did not, in fact, get my loans forgiven, which that's a whole other story and debacle. So that's another, like, I don't know. I just feel like also, like, some of the concerns that I had about education were parents were becoming increasingly hostile to teachers. There wasn't like a good support system for teachers in my area, at least. I don't know about other areas because I don't teach there, obviously. In my area, parents were becoming increasingly hostile. Admin or our leadership was becoming increasingly unsupportive. Politicians were trying to insert themselves more into like governing classrooms. In-person teachers are a high safety risk, and that's just not something I was willing to take on. As far as like, I don't think I can say that on here, but we all know what has become prevalent in schools in the United States. So there's that. I was just not willing to become a shield, basically, and I wasn't really willing to put myself through that kind of trauma. Yeah, there's that. There's just so much in education right now that I did not anticipate happening, and that I wish, honestly, that I could have talked to my former self about as a young teacher, as somebody who was thinking about teaching. And I hate to say it, but anybody who asks me if they should go into education as a teacher, as a classroom teacher, unfortunately, I tell them no most of the time, because the other part of it, and teachers get vilified for saying stuff like this all the time, but I will say it because I say everything basically. They don't get paid enough. We really don't get paid enough to feed our families, to feed ourselves. Well, maybe just that, like just food and bills. Like, that is about where I was at. I had very little extra money, and there was no real like growth potential to grow that. That was not something I was interested in doing. The only way really that if you're a teacher that you can grow in your like salary basically is if you decide to become an administrator, and that's not something that I was really ever interested in doing. That is the story of education currently in the United States. It's sad, because again, I have had a huge passion for education since I was a young person, since I basically, could think about and conceptualize what I wanted to do with my life. I babysat since I was 13. Like I said, I taught swim lessons starting at age 15. I did a lot of like education volunteer work. I don't know, it was very, very sad the way that education became a very sad thing to think about in my mind. It just became something that was like, I don't know, it just became very sad. And it's still, I think, I'm not in it as much as I was before. I will say the company that I currently consult for is an ed tech company, so I feel like that's kind of cool. So I kind of get to have a little bit of stake in what is happening in education. So that is kind of neat for me. My career has kind of come full circle. And if you are interested, if you're a young person watching this and you're interested in going into teaching, that is something cool that I think is a viable option for people to pursue. I think ed tech, and if you're not familiar with like what that is exactly, ed tech is basically like the technology companies that are used to support classrooms. The company that I called my dream job when I was interviewing for that role as well, that was also an ed tech company, and so it like paired all of my skills really nicely together. Kind of would have been a perfect fit, but I'm sure there are so many people interviewing right now. That's the other thing that I'm really loving about consulting right now, is that there are so many people in the job market that I just don't really feel like I have a shot at a lot of things. And so I don't know. I feel like, again, kind of making my own way is the way to go right now. I feel really good about it. I don't know. I just feel like this is kind of the path where I'm supposed to be right now, which sounds kind of weird. I don't know. I have a lot of like those universe type feelings about things, where I feel like this is like the universe telling me where I need to be. I felt like that when I left teaching and like went into a different career path. And I felt like that a couple of different times in my life as I've navigated different things. So that is interesting too. Yeah, so that's the story, the longest story ever of how I've left education. And I don't ever plan on going back, which again, super sad, because I thought for so long in my life that teaching was where I was like made to be. It's like what I was born to do. I like said that all the time, basically. And then it ended up being just a really like sad experience for me. I just think there's a lot that needs to be fixed in the education system right now. And I think part of it is starting with really committing to supporting teachers and treating them as professionals. That's the other thing. That's the other part of it, is that teachers are absolutely not treated like professionals in the classroom whatsoever. We are dictated to a lot of the time, and like we have a lot of teachers are now teaching to the test, which is really sad. So yeah, there is that too. So there's less like creativity and freedom in teaching and that kind of thing. So that's the story of why I left teaching. Okay, so this is my next week. So yeah, if any of you are former teachers or current teachers and you have anything to add to that conversation, feel free to let me know that. I would love to know that. And I would also love to know like how things are in different states, because obviously I live in Oregon and that is the state perspective that I have. So if things are more positive in your state, or if you feel like education as a whole is better where you live and where you're from, let me know. I'm totally open to having that conversation. But again, this was just my experience and the experience of a lot of folks that I know who live in my area. Oh my gosh, that turned out so cute. That is adorable. Oh, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video, but I'm thinking about adding some live stuff into my channel. Oh my god, washi tape on my sleeve. Something like, I don't know, I was thinking about like a midweek check-in in my planner, because I love doing these like fully sit down videos where they're like filmed and edited and that kind of thing. But I also want to get more like live time with you guys. So I'm going to put up a poll, I think, where you guys can share with me like kind of your thoughts and that kind of thing about when would work best for lives and that kind of thing. But I'm thinking it'll be like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I think we'll flip-flop between like an afternoon and maybe like an evening time. The cool thing is that if you're on the East Coast, I'm ahead of you, so I can do it a little bit earlier in my day, which is cool for me, and then you can watch a little bit later into your day too. I'm gonna go ahead and get some pen on this. Oh, did I even show you guys what the full thing looks like without the pen? I don't think I did. Here it is. Oh my gosh, it turned out so cute. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get some pen on here, and then I'll see you guys back at the end.
So I take what I can and I toss it in the car. Drive away down the highway, I can't stay. 'Cause I know that all I know, it's time to go. It's time to go. You can pass the blame. Say what you want, you got nothing on me.
We have a little bit of pen on here. Oh, I forgot to fill in my habit tracker, but I think I'll do that later. I'm not really sure. I think I want to change up my habits too. Here's my little notes from beforehand that I keep off to the side. Just a little YouTube magic for you guys. It actually looks like I know exactly what I need to write, but I don't. Okay, so this is my spread currently. So we have all of our spirit days on here. We have my dog park stuff. We have the junior parade, which I'm not sure if we're going to go to. When I was a kid, we used to get out of school early and go to this. However, my daughter has a lot of schoolwork she's got to make up, so we'll see how much work she can get done between now and then. And then I will have to go down there, and I think I'm going to need one other person to like hold the spot, because that's basically what you have to do. You have to go there early in the morning and hold the spot, and then somebody goes and picks up the kids and brings them, because the parade starts at 1. So I would need to get the kids at 12 or so. Anyway, we'll see if we're going to do that. Stay and play Harrison at school, so they let them stay and play on the playground after school. We have my brother's birthday, we have ramen with my friend, and then the last day for high school seniors. And I am still filing unemployment, even though I am consulting, because my consulting fee basically is not enough to cover my bills, and it's not really even enough to like match unemployment. So hoping to get some more freelance clients, or I did also start a social media Patreon. So if that's something you're interested in joining, check that out. I've noticed a bunch of you come over and you joined the free tier to like see what it's about. So I think that's pretty pretty cool too. Thanks for the support there. So yeah, this is my spread for the week. I hope that you guys are having a great day. I hope your weekend is going wonderfully, and I hope that your summer continues to be magical. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Caitlin. I would love it if you would hit that red subscribe button down below and follow along. And if you are one of my current followers, thank you so much for all of your love and support, whether you just got here or whether you have been hanging around for years and years and years. I so appreciate all of your love and support. And here's your internet hug for the day. If you would like to find me anywhere else, you can check me out on Instagram at creatinginchaos_official. You can also find me on, where else? TikTok. It's at creatingin_chaos, I believe is the handle over there. You can also find me on Patreon, where I'm doing some social media consulting and support tiers over there, so check me out there. All of that is linked down in the description box below. I also have a page set up for my podcast that will be launching hopefully in July, so that is also really exciting. So yeah, check that out. The podcast will be called Planning a Crime. So it'll be kind of where true crime intersects with our planning community, which is interesting. So make sure that you check that out. And what else? Oh, if you would like to check out any of my other projects, which I just talked about, those are linked down below. If you're shopping for planners or planner supplies, I do have my favorite brands linked down below, as well as some affiliate links and coupons that you can find down there as well. And with that, you guys, by the way, have fun today.